Sorry I'm late, traffic was bad. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think every day everybody needs a prayer. So, Heavenly Father, we remember that faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Romans 10:17. So when discouragement comes and you find that you have been walking by sight instead of by faith, head back to the scriptures and let the promises of God build your faith back to strength. Amen.
Item number 1, the Commissioner's Office is requesting the board rescind the motion from April 8th, 2025 that read, approve and execute resolution number 25-063, authorizing the airport authority to construct a new T-hangar at the Geauga County Airport and to conditionally approve an appropriation of $800,000 from the general fund to the airport construction fund for the purpose of contributing towards the construction and improvements at the airport in accordance with ORC 308.17 with the elimination of number 3 in the conditions regarding salary.
I make that motion.
I'll second that with just so that for the record, just to make it, open to clarify some of that specifically.
Okay, that was the first resolution that included an element about salary increases for employees at the airport, and you guys struck that out of it before you approved it.
Okay.
But in order to take these further actions today, that needs to be rescinded
Okay.
because that's not what you're doing anymore.
Okay. So I second that.
Commissioner Spiller,
Aye.
Commissioner Brackey,
No.
Commissioner DeBoer.
Yes.
Item number 2, the Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute the agreement between Geauga County Board of Commissioners and the Airport Authority regarding the contribution and repayment of $800,000 towards the construction of a new T-hangar at the Geauga County Airport pending prosecutor approval and auditor certification. The issue here is that we received a version of this agreement from the prosecutor's office. And then the president of the board asked for a different version to also be put together, which we worked on yesterday and was sent to both of you, all three of you. And so we don't really know which version of this agreement or some iteration of it you want to do. So we were instructed to have a laptop ready with access to these documents so that if you wanted to vote on individual elements in it, or if you wanted to take as a whole, that would be something that you guys can do.
So can we take a step back though and talk about how we got here? Because we passed a resolution to grant this money to the airport. And then I was working with the prosecutor's office. I think Mr. DeWark was independently working with the prosecutor's office over the Easter weekend to get to something that was more acceptable to the airport. And I thought that's what we were going to vote on Tuesday. And then I think by 9 a.m. I found out that was going to be off the agenda. So how are we here voting on a loan?
It's my understanding, and you will correct me if I have misunderstood anything, that when that new resolution was presented to the airport authority, there were elements in it that they felt were things they just could not agree to.
Okay, so I'd be interested in hearing what things they would not be able to agree to.
I don't wish to speak for you guys. Do you want to address Commissioner Brackey on the elements of that resolution that you found that you were going to be unable to agree to?
There was a marked up version that was sent back to your office
with our comments on it.
I don't think there was a description of why it was marked up.
I'm not sure what you're asking for. A marked up version is clear what we would not accept.
Well, why would you not accept those terms? So we were gonna give you as a grant, $800,000. You're now asking it for it as a loan with interest.
Right.
So my question is,
There were some terms in there that we couldn't accept because of the potential for, I'm not sure, it's just, it seemed to be an attack on us.
what did you think was an attack on you?
I don't know if I have a copy of the marked up version with me. Give me a minute, please.
It's 1.11.
I'm looking at, are we looking at the resolution that was supposed to be discussed on Tuesday? Is that what we're after?
Mhm. Yeah.
Would it be correct to say that you felt some of the language in there might put you at personal legal jeopardy?
There was some terms used.
Yeah, if you refer to 1.11, the bottom
Should we-
portion.
Should we have you guys come up so that you're on the microphone and folks at home can hear? And make sure to introduce yourself before you speak, please.
I'm Chip S. Airport Authority.
Yeah.
Greg Gilstrom, Airport Authority.
Rick Lamer, Airport Authority.
The language which concerned us was contained within 1.11, especially the last sentence. You know, we believe and we understand that the county commissioners have absolute control over everything.
I'm sorry, where are you?
1.11.
I don't
We don't
see,
have numbers on our.
I don't see
version. I
any
don't know what you're talking about.
1.11.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the loan agreement that was, we're talking about the resolution from,
Yeah, the resolution we were gonna be voting on Tuesday that would just give you the money.
That's the version that you updated. That was.
Yeah, this isn't the one that they objected to.
No, that was the final version with all of the changes. That was on the agenda. They got both.
this is the document right there.
So
I'm looking for a copy that we marked up.
You know, we've been talking about this, so I didn't bring those documents.
I don't see if I can find it.
There's so many versions of this document.
I don't
that
disagree.
I think we're all pretty lost in terms of, I'm lost personally as to which
Yeah,
version we're now discussing.
okay, but I mean, as far as, you know, there was a resolution we were gonna vote on. You guys found it unacceptable. Why did you find it unacceptable? I mean, you're gonna be paying interest now as a result, so I would think you would know your reasoning.
Yeah,
about that,
okay,
right?
well, in terms of, again, I'm looking at the wrong version here. I
That's-
apologize.
Here's a marked up version. I believe that's the correct one. Again, there's been so many flying around.
Those red lines would be the ones of the stuff you wanted to remove.
That's correct. That's
So
correct.
if you review what you wanted to remove, it might help you remember what it was about it that you were concerned about.
Do you have the copy in front of you?
No.
I mean, I have, I think what was your final recommended resolution, and then I have what was our final recommended resolution.
Because
The one I have is not in red line. I have a clean
because
version.
we did send our comments back to the commissioners, on item 2. On second page.
Okay, so from the whereas clause, there's a enumerated list. So you're talking about number 2 of that on the page 2.
Would it be proper that all individuals here would have a copy of?
I'm
what we're
trying
taking?
to find that version.
Thank you very much. I
They
think
would they would
That's
help.
what
a
I'm
lot.
trying to do is find the one that you sent, but I was not directed. I was copied and forwarded on a lot of this stuff, so I'm trying to figure out.
lots of emails. But yeah, I think that'd be great to everybody have a copy.
Otherwise, we're just missing each other here.
Just want to make a copy. Copies for everybody.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Because I had three versions of that highlighted resolution, so I wanted to make sure that when they all of the highlights, because I had red lines, I had blue lines, and I had yellow highlights on the resolution that came back to me 3 times. So that's the version I'm trying to find. And I have 2 different resolutions back and forth because I have one for the application as well. So I'm trying to decide what I've got to work.
Geauga. If that's what we worked on, all right, and then this is, yes,
I'm trying to find it because, like I said, I have like 6 different versions.
I think I pulled the
That's a
right,
lot
I think I pulled the,
resolution.
I think I pulled the right one, so we'll work through it.
Well, I don't know, the last one that I got that Linda updated, which was the one that I used for the final version, had red, blue, and yellow highlights in it, so.
Yeah, that's the right one.
I know, but I have to find it in my email.
Oh, okay.
That's where I'm
The red,
trying
white,
to
the
find
red,
it.
white and blue version.
Pretty much, because I only have the final one that I
Yeah.
saved.
Well,
And that's the one that I handed Linda, but it's not much. It doesn't show the lines.
If you could print that, that'd be great.
Got our red, white, and blue.
that's got red. I don't know, it may not have the blue and the,
It has blue too.
does that blue one?
I don't,
All right,
This one doesn't. This is just that red.
no, there was a blue somewhere.
Yep.
just a little one, but I mean, this, again, this may not be the final. Could you print the one that,
I'm still trying to find it.
the final version that was brought to,
I have Linda has that printed final version. That was on so last week that had all the changes in.
that it was Tuesday, Linda?
I can't.
The one that's marked not approved that I handed to you is the one that was supposed to be on the agenda that had all of the changes from their red lines, the blue lines, and the highlights.
That would be great if we get that. That way we know we have,
The sheet has in front of.
sorry about that.
That is not a problem.
That way we know we've got it, our most recent version. I know all of us would have.
Yes.
If there's anything else, just give me a call.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think there's two. I think you've got two also.
So the best of our knowledge, Linda, this is what was reviewed by the airport authority, because there's still doesn't look, because we changed the numbering on the large paragraph about the 4 conditions to 3.
Yeah. Number 1, number 2, number 3, but then you have 4 conditions. That's probably what's throwing you off, is it says if any of these 4 conditions with the.
Yeah, we had changed that to 3
Well,
in a version that I remember.
So is that why you went alone? Because it says 4 instead of 3. So can we just can we talk about the material terms
That's
that you're
Go
objecting
right ahead.
to? Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, you go ahead because I'm not the one objecting to them.
Well, are we back to a grant discussion or are we?
I am asking, well, how do we get to this discussion about a loan? Because there is a path forward for you gentlemen to receive a grant
Right.
from the county.
Right.
And that's what we were supposed to be voting on Tuesday. And now we're voting on a loan with an interest rate today. So my question is, what was unacceptable about the resolution that made you decide you'd rather have a loan than interest rate rather than just a gift?
Okay, that's kind of the crux of the conversation.
Yeah.
Good.
Weren't you guided by your attorney though with these?
We had input.
Okay.
Yeah. The whereas at the bottom at the very bottom of the page, well, the second from the bottom, let's go through that. Authority shall provide quarterly recording to the commissioners for 3 years following completion of the T hangar. Not an issue whatsoever. The authority affirms that we will comply with all terms of the agreement, not an issue. These funds will become a loan with a 20-year term and an interest rate of 2% compounded annually. We disagree with the percentage. And the reason that we disagree with the percentage is,
Okay, so not to interrupt you, but this was your version that you wanted. This is not our version that was approved by the prosecutor's office that you objected to. So my question is, why did you object to that version and why are we talking about a loan? Because this isn't a version we were gonna.
yeah, okay, well, the language that kind of threw us off track here, if you would.
Isn't in this one.
I'm sorry?
It's not in this one.
Yeah, this was like I think this was your final.
Right.
expression.
Well, I mean, do you have the version, the red line that
Yeah.
Linda copied the first time? I
I-
think that'd be a good start.
Yes,
Item number 2,
yes.
the last sentence refers to legal remedies, damages and things like that.
Yes.
I don't think that's terms of what partners and co-sponsors
Well, so
do.
that's actually, I mean, you don't even have to explicitly have that language in the agreement and it would still carry.
No, we in the 2018 document, we understand what that implies. This, we don't think it's a proper place to be in this document for the grant. We will still follow everything in the 2018
Okay.
grant.
I mean, it seems like you want a waiver of any cost
No,
responsibility.
we're not, we're not saying that.
I actually don't personally, I don't even think this is material term because it's explicitly stated here, but even if it wasn't, it would still be true.
Everything in the 2018 agreement,
Everything reverts to the 2000.
yeah, we're fine with all that.
That's correct.
Yes. Yeah,
So that is that the hang up?
that's one of them.
Okay.
Going to number 3.
I mean,
There's-
personally, I actually don't even think that's, for me, I would strike that. I mean, I understand the prosecutor's office may have different opinions, but that's,
Fine. I mean, we want to go through the list and then there's item 3, that I believe it's the second part of the paragraph, where there's a term of indicia of noncompliance, which is a legal term, that it sounds like everything, malfeasance, misuse of funds, things like that. Again, terms that partners and co-sponsors, I don't think it's appropriate.
Again, it reverts to the original 2018 agreement.
Okay.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
okay.
So why would that language be in here?
Because, I mean, an agreement is preparing for the worst. I mean, it's hoping for the best and it's preparing for the worst. So this is a preparing for the worst kind of clause.
Well,
I mean, that's very
again,
common.
excuse me.
It's very common in agreements to prepare for the worst. It's not expecting you're going to do anything.
Well, again, I still refer back to the 2018 agreement. You have total control. There's no
Yeah.
question about it. So what we objected to was the use of the language fraud, misuse of funds, malfeasance, misfeasance, nonfeasance. I think we got it all out there. I just think it's extraneous language that, again, you have total control. And it's contained within the 2018 agreement.
Okay, so then you don't think that's a material term if it's in the 2018 agreement? So, I mean, you're saying that that's already in the 2018 agreement.
Not these,
Not the terms, but the intent is.
Okay,
again, you have total control.
okay,
And then going down a little further in that paragraph about the nature and severity of violations, accelerated repayment terms. Once we spend the money on the hangar, all we have is income from the hangar. So more accelerated repayments,
We're upside down.
we can't do it.
no, I mean, I agree with you on that one, but of
Mhm.
course it would take two commissioners to trigger that.
I get you.
Yeah.
We get it. And then we did ask for the cure period, which we would like to have, a 30-day cure period. Just to give us time. I mean, we've gone through, and in fact, on one of these clauses asked for a list of things that we feel, and we've done everything to the best of our knowledge for the 2018 agreement. We met with Linda after Tuesday's session, and we went over a process to go through. We gave Linda a thumb drive of some documents. We also stated or showed that quarterly reporting financials. We have not done that since 2018.
Okay.
That's one of the items. And there was another another description of a verbal annual report where when we come to the budget hearings, Rick and or a member of the airport authority does provide a report, but it just says report, a verbal report. It doesn't say what's going to be included in that
Yeah.
report.
Right.
So, again, that
Oh, it's
we identified those two items as things that we know about.
Okay.
But after budget hearings, we'll sit down with Linda and or her successor or
Yeah.
anybody and go through the 2018 agreement and all of the documents we have. And we'll share everything we've done.
Mhm.
And if there's something that we need to go back and provide or moving forward, I think we need to define some things a little better. But we'll do it.
Yeah, we can make up our own version of a verbal report, but if there's something you'd like to see,
No, I mean, I think that's
have
fair.
nothing-
I mean, so the one change, I think this was kind of a change that came in the midnight hour before Tuesday's meeting. It said the authority, this is under header 2, the authority affirms that it has thoroughly reviewed the agreement with its counsel, and you struck with its counsel.
Bridie was not available. We did it on the phone. And then she felt it was appropriate because thoroughly reviewed with counsel. Does that mean face to face? Does that mean, she did review, but that was requested by her
Okay.
to take that out. But she was part of this.
Yeah, I mean, so that some of that language that we put in, was trying to be responsive to your concern.
Okay.
About that number 2. Because, to your point, there might be a very small minor clause in the agreement that you didn't do, but it doesn't really matter.
To the best of our
you know?
knowledge, and but the list we just provided.
So the language I tried to put in there was to avoid, what's called the ostrich effect, which it's actually a legal term. And you probably can guess what it means, right? You can't just put your head in the sand and not have any liability or culpability. So,
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
no, go ahead.
I mean, 2 meetings ago, you asked us, put us on the spot about what have you done?
Yeah.
We said to the best of our knowledge,
Mhm.
we should have been prepared to have that list for you at that time.
Yeah.
But since that time, we've regrouped, we've gone through all of our documents, and we are prepared to provide anything you need.
we apologize that we gave you that concern. We should have been more prompt in terms of figuring out what's good, what's bad, whatever.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
we created that environment that dissolves some trust.
yeah, I mean, I think there's been, frankly, I kind of feel like I'm being gaslit with this whole thing because, I'm told like the local match is $800,000. And then I read the 72-page document. And I find out the local match is actually 30,000. There's been a lot of things that have been, like the whole process for me has been very problematic, to put it mildly. And so I just want to make sure that there is language here with this money that protects the taxpayer.
Yeah, I'm,
We're on,
the only hope of quality is a process. And if there's any aspect of this that you believe the process could be better, we're more than willing to do it. But without a process, we have no quality. It's just that simple.
Okay, I mean,
Tell us what you want.
radical honesty. Radical honesty. That's what I want, radical
We have nothing
honesty.
died, so what's the big deal?
Okay, I mean, how many airport board members have planes in their hangars? There's at least one more, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I just think those sort of things are things that the public should know about.
They do.
It's-
I'm sorry. I
We have a
apologize.
public meeting every month.
And we would invite everybody to attend the meetings, people that have interest in the airport as tenants and or have anything to do not take part in discussions and or decisions relative to rental rates, things like that.
We do not vote on matters of hangar rent or gas prices because we're tenants. Now, to speak to that I think it would be good to have some pilots actually on an airport board that actually know what aviation is all about. It's a benefit. You get to name three, we get to name three members. It's a balance.
Mhm.
Sounds fair to me.
Okay.
so that's what's brought us here today is we were uncomfortable with the language of the grants. So we moved to a loan process. And that's why we're here today is to go through the language of the loan process. So the language of the agreement. And we could probably vote on 4 or 5 things and the laptop is ready to add or subtract things.
One other item on here, Commissioner, is, contained within paragraph 3 down about 5 or 6 is the interest rate of 2%. Again, I would just like to iterate what's the purpose of our position on 1.5%. Basically, it's all about cash flow. And we're trying to build a little bit of a cushion so we can have additional maintenance funds. As Commissioner Brakey pointed out the other day, is that the county can go get 4%, 5%, whatever it is on their money. We agree. But the purpose of this is to create some cash flow so we don't have to keep coming back to you for extraneous items, things we just can't afford to maintain your airport. So that's the purpose of the 1.5. And I have a question is why we would quibble over 0.5% when we know the positive impacts of a 1.5.
So then take 2. If you don't want to quibble over it. I mean,
The solution. I was thinking.
the Federal Reserve sets the rate of inflation at 2%. So at 1.5%, you have a negative real interest rate.
Oh, I could talk all day on interest rates and the Federal Reserve and all that good stuff, but what we're saying is our ability to create positive cash flow is a function of where we set the rent, and we continue to watch that every single year versus the loan repayment. So if it's like this,
Well,
we have no
how
free
I
cash
think,
flow.
how I think that equation should work out though, right?
And we agree with you
Yeah.
in terms of, in the last several years, we've gotten quite aggressive with an annual increase. If you allow, a lot of airports don't raise the rates and then they wake up one day and they have to raise the rates 20%. No business can survive a 20% increase to play catch up. So what we try to do is just a solid increase that receives no quibble whatsoever. It's been very effective in terms of retention of.
Yeah, but what is your wait list right now?
As Rick said, it's quite dynamic. It goes up and
Changes
down
daily. I
every
added
week.
2 more to this week, so we're up to 32 again.
So, I mean, if you have a 32, I don't want to keep talking about this, but if you have a 32-person wait list, you need to get people quibbling because then they're going to leave and you're going to pay, you're going to have people, you're going to have tenants that pay more for rent. And then you can have hangars that are actually cash flow positive because your current hangar is not.
Well, it is, it dramatically is over the life of the project.
It's
In the
currently,
early years, well, may I
I
finish?
mean, I'm just looking at the documents you provided me, which I don't know what it is over the life of the project, but what I've looked at, what you provided me is currently cash flow negative.
Yeah, on a short-term basis, it is. And when we embarked on Hangar Alpha, we weren't sure, we had to be sure we could rent all the hangars. So we put together a 5-year deal that said your rent is stable for 5 years if you sign up. That way we've got positive cash flow. And we could have made that period a lot shorter and gotten away with it, but we signed a deal.
Mhm.
Not had a period at all.
Right. So lesson learned, we're not obviously doing that on Hangar Bravo because we're now confident we don't have empty hangars. The risk of empty hangars is, it really makes the cash flow difficult if we got empty.
Yeah,
hangars.
but you got a 32-person wait list, so your chance of having an empty hangar to me seems pretty slim.
And I do not disagree with your logical announce. If you would allow us the flexibility that we enjoy to manage that rent level, we will be more aggressive.
Okay, so is that a promise?
It's a commitment.
Okay, I appreciate that.
We're not disagreeing with you.
All right, so I mean, in sum, you have nothing else to add. That is why the agreement is unacceptable to you. Was for those reasons, the redlined reasons.
And then I think further down in paragraph 3 was the 30-day cure period.
Right.
Yeah, I think we talked about that already.
That's just good.
I mean, that's, we would have the discretion on it, on our draft, and, 2 commissioners would have to decide. And of course, whatever the hypothetical breach or noncompliance would be, is we would get the discretion otherwise. So that's a sticking point. Okay, so I understand where your position is and why you find this unacceptable. So should we start talking about the loan agreement then?
Yeah, if everybody could agree on have Linda read each paragraph.
I guess before we start that, Jim, I just have a question for you. Like, I need to just kind of understand, where did this change from what you supported last year, as far as the whole part of us basically being, in this partnership with the airport and understanding it's our, we're ultimately responsible for that, for the airport, and then the airport authority oversees everything, that we went down this road from all understanding and agreeing with the airport board that, they have done some incredible leaps of improvements, and everything was moving in such a positive direction that all of a sudden you had this change that what you were supportive of, and, all the way up until, I would say, December 31st, you were in support of it, and then all of a sudden that changed. I just would like to know, like, what happened to make that this whole thing all of a sudden torpedo that we're doing this.
Well, with the grant language, the prosecutor didn't, approve it. The airport authority couldn't live with the last language for the grant application.
But
All right.
that's not it, Jim. We had agreed to give them $1.3 million. Now it's $500,000 less. And that 1.3, we had an agreement, and that we all 3 of the commissioners prior to January 1 agreed to support the airport with $1.3 million with no repay and no interest, that it was an investment into our buildings. And now I need to get my arms around this. of what happened from us supporting them 100% up to December 31st. And now all of a sudden we're here, you know, and I'll be totally honest with you, like the amount of feedback that I'm getting from the general public on this, we look like fools. We look like fools. I mean, this is a county building and it's a county airport and we pay to support county airports. We had a you know, position in place that we did this, and all of a sudden we're now talking about interest rates. We reduced you guys down by $500,000 and all of these stipulations. And guess what? We've never had issues of you guys not holding to your word of what you're doing. And the amount of commitment and dedication that there has been year after year after year with the airport authority. And it's so visible and obvious of the improvements and everything that you guys have done to make it better. So I guess, Jim, I'm struggling with this to understand what changed from December 31st to now that you've changed your position.
I have changed my position, but I still want to support the airport. I wanted to compromise. It's called democracy, and still want to support the new T hangar. And I found a way in my brain to compromise with the $800,000 along with the FAA grant. They'll still be able to have build a hangar and have excess money that we as commissioners will collaborate with the airport. If they want to fix a roof, we give them the okay, and so on and so forth. So it's not like I'm kicking it to the curb. I want it to happen with stipulations. And yes, I've changed my mind around.
So I guess my only other question is so do we then make this a common practice that anyone that comes and asks for us to improve county facilities, that we're going to create loans now for them?
Well, I don't think,
Like, is this something that we should do with the courts? We've got we're gonna be dumping, I would say, close to $25 million in a new courthouse project. And are we gonna be asking them to pay us back? Are we gonna be asking the sheriff to pay us back for the roof that we're putting on the safety center?
no, this is the airport authority. They guidelines from the FAA. They have a lot of restrictions that they have to follow, and they have been.
That's got nothing to do with what I'm asking you. Are we going to start to request from all of the different departments and all of the different authorities here? You know,
No,
I mean, the prosecutor's office came in about a month ago or 2 months ago about improving his facility with offices, $200,000.
yes,
Are we asking for that to be repaid?
no,
We're improving our buildings, correct?
that's,
They're existing buildings that carry out the statutory functions of government.
I understand that,
That's-
but that is also a county function of a county airport.
It's not a statutory function of the government. It's holding private aircraft, and the building doesn't currently
The
exist.
fair board isn't a statutory function, but we supported them
Well,
for the betterment of our county.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how I would have voted on the chicken barns, just to be honest. I probably would have had agreement with that. So, I mean,
but with the fair board, there's bonds involved with that, $750,000. And I don't think any department, first of all, in Jim Flaze's courthouse annex, we have about 75 or 80 people there working every day.
Yeah.
52 weeks out of the year. And we don't have any employees at the airport. And then, you know, we can pick it apart both sides, but I don't want to be negative, you know, to ask questions like how many flights come in every day on the average every year. We could just pick it apart for 2 more weeks. And I don't think any department has asked us for $1.33 million to do an addition.
Well, we're building a courthouse that's going to be almost $25 million.
That's a
And
new
that-
number
that's
for
just
me.
an- that-
But
that's
it was
just the-
20
Well,
million.
I'm just saying, let's wait and see what that final number comes.
You might be.
Because
I just think
25 million might be actually on the low side, the way that these changes keep coming in. But I guess
Expanding on
I'm just,
something chocolate.
I'm just struggling because there's just a big change. You know, that everybody has said, you know, what happened from after December 31st to now, to all of a sudden have this big change, that all of a sudden you're supportive, and then, you know, I'm getting blindsided. I'm sure you guys are getting blindsided too, correct?
Mhm.
You know, so, and, you know, the whole part of the thing of 75 people, 100 people working here, wherever, we have Rick that works there part-time. These guys have the ability with with the buildings to be able to have an income with that. We're not paying hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars for employees that we're paying. And all of these, every time we improve these other buildings and make more offices, guess what? It's more people, more dollars, right? So in their spot, their parking spaces that we're creating, that they are doing nothing but obvious, just general maintenance that is bringing in revenue every single month. In the long term, okay, no different than the commissioners that were here probably 50 years ago that put the hangars in place, that they're absorbing the you know, the revenue from today, had probably this type of conversation and say, yeah, the immediate gain is not there. Okay, you're not going to be in the black tomorrow, but we have to build it. And in 20 years from now, the other commissioners will look back and say, those guys did a great job. But to charge you guys interest and to have this repay, I feel is not what we're about. And we didn't make that decision based on the fact that we were putting ourselves in a bad financial position. Adrian is our financial specialist. We had hours upon hours of meeting and discussion with Adrian last year before we decided the fair project, before we decided this airport project. 100%, we had that. Adrian did some beautiful projections to look at this. 12 to 15 years to not even have a concern. That's why we did it. And that's why we felt comfortable to do it. All of a sudden, December 31st comes in and we're like upside down. You know, I'm really disgusted with this process. To be totally honest with you, I think that you know, I apologized to you guys a couple weeks ago, and I still continue to apologize, and I give you guys credit for sitting here to be able to do this. You're volunteers. I can only imagine how much time it is taken away from whatever else you guys do to have attended how many meetings now?
Okay, Commissioner, do you have a motion to make or not? Let's get on.
I make the motion to give them 800,000 plus an additional, not to exceed an additional 50,000 of what their costs have been, of what they've done already in engineering work and all that stuff to prepare for this grant process, because you guys have probably close to 50,000. So I would say 800 for the grant, and an additional 50, not to exceed 50,000, with the proof that you guys just bring us the invoices to be able to do that. No interest and not a repay, but a transfer to the airport for the $800,000 plus the not to exceed 50. That's my motion.
So there would be a loan.
There would not be a loan.
No, he's just saying give it to them with no strings attached.
Well, are you guys willing to agree to the language that you had that was even redlined?
The prosecutor's office would not agree to their resolution they were suggesting. So
Right.
if we gave the money under that, they would not receive the money. We would get blocked.
Right.
With that
We get
resolution.
blocked by the auditor.
Yeah. I mean, even if that passed, I'm just saying, so the resolution you guys proposed was not approved by the prosecutor's office. So even if we voted and approved on that to give you the money that way, you would not receive it because it would be blocked by the prosecutor's office and the auditor couldn't release the funds.
When the prosecutor, I'm confused on the process. When the prosecutor gives his opinion, is it because the document that he didn't approve was illegal?
It's not illegal. He has to protect the taxpayers. So he has a statutory duty, just like we do, to protect the taxpayers.
So he has if I understand this correctly, he has the opportunity to override all three commissioners?
No, he doesn't vote on policy.
But he can block it, right?
But it's not a policy decision. It's a legal protection of
But
taxpayers.
if the agreement is legal, then the policy is up to you.
I'm not going to get into the weeds of this. I'm not the prosecutor. But my understanding is that the prosecutor did not approve that version of the resolution. So even if we
What, for
passed
what
it,
legal reason?
I don't know. I'm not the prosecutor.
Did we get feedback? I mean, did we have an opportunity to review it to see what we could adjust?
Yeah, you got a redlined.
From the
you got-
prosecutor's office, we did not.
You got a version of the resolution that was acceptable to the prosecutor's office, and that was the version that you found unacceptable.
Well, we had comments. I mean, this is a negotiating process.
Right.
And we were never given the opportunity to work through that.
Well, no, you were. I mean, like your attorney talked to our attorney over the Easter weekend. There was communication back and forth. And then that's how we got an agreement in the end. But, apparently.
During that process, there were two different documents that were flying back and forth.
Yeah,
And it seemed that our document never got reviewed by the prosecutor's office.
no, that's incorrect. It was.
We were never told that.
But I had conversations with Laura, like I said, over the Easter weekend. I mean, I talked to her on Good Friday in the evening after church. I talked to her on Easter. We were back and forth all weekend long. And she did see those changes, and they were just unacceptable to the prosecutor's office. So that's where we are with those resolutions. So we could pass the resolution that the prosecutor's office approved, but that would be unacceptable to the airport, so they would not get their money. Or we could go for the loan, but it seems like Mr. Spitarilli's motion died.
Yeah, it died. I'm going to concentrate on this loan, and we will get the majority for the numbers on certain items. You guys have a copy of the
Which
short version?
we have the short version. That's correct.
You have the long version?
We do not. I mean,
I sent them both this morning.
Okay.
is it the current, Linda, and I'm not doubting what you said.
What I sent you this morning is, to my knowledge, what the prosecutor drafted and what Jim Dvorak asked me to draft yesterday, two of them. A
So,
long version
and
and a short version.
it's 9 o'clock this morning. We got the post current version.
Don't look at me. I didn't send it.
Well, you had suggestions to Laura LaChapelle.
Yeah, I have.
Calling that the longer version.
Yeah, I have a Laura version and a Dvorak version. That's all I have them
And
labeled.
that's all there are.
Was the Dvorak version reviewed by the prosecutor?
That's a good question. That's what was going to be my question next.
Both be done this morning.
Well, so
Because-
you were meeting with the prosecutor this morning, correct? So is
Yeah,
this?
but he didn't show up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I was suggested by Laura LaChapelle to go through the loan agreement with a laptop ready with the votes for the majority for certain line items, numbers, percentage points, whatever.
Sorry, Jim, so there's a short version that we all had a chance to look at yesterday. And that has not been reviewed by the prosecutor.
This guy in front of him, but he's given me no answer so far today.
So
For the record, that version was drafted based entirely on the language of the loan we've currently got in place for the Alpha Lane.
right, so the language is the
It
same.
pretty much matches that.
Right.
Which was approved by
Correct.
the
So
prosecutor.
that was legal back then, and now it's illegal?
It hasn't been.
No,
reviewed.
we just haven't got he sign off on it, So that's what we worked on, is to have the same language as 3 years ago. And then Laura LaChapelle looked at it and added a paragraph, 1.7.
I don't know that I have that version. Did you ever send that to me?
Yeah, and you never took it out. It's still in there. It's just 1.7. The airport authority board shall be solely responsible for the managing of all aspects of the project, including but not limited to project design and development, all pre-bid and bid requirements, compliance with prevailing wage, applicable laws and grant requirements, construction and project closing.
So the prosecutor has reviewed this,
Yes.
Yeah, but he hasn't given me an answer
but
yet.
Laura, you said Laura,
Laura says,
Yeah,
go through this
we have a
item by
version,
item.
we have a version of the loan agreement that was approved by Laura.
but Jim just said that this,
Laura
it
and
has
Jim
a
are
different
two different things.
Laura worked on three of these.
well, I get it, but you said Laura added clauses to your version.
Yes,
So that, does that mean to say that's been,
it's in here.
yeah, I understand that. But does that mean it's been reviewed and approved?
It's been reviewed by Laura LaChapelle, Jim Fleiser's employee.
Right.
So
I'm,
And then she added additional provisions.
Just so you know, this is the version that, this is the lower version. I know that because it has these wrong out and it's done differently.
Yeah, the
What's
one
your
we
version
received
of
this morning, from the prosecutor, we're presuming, is they dramatically changed the amounts. How is that a legal issue that a prosecutor can change the amounts on a commissioner document?
So what I flagged,
this was your suggestion.
yeah, I mean, when I looked at the application, it looked like the project came in at that 1.238, not 1.33.
1.33 is the project cost.
Okay, but then the application has it at 1.238.
That's the construction cost.
Okay, so then where did the rest come from?
Indirect professional services,
Okay.
construction administration, bidding costs.
And then have you provided those documents for those costs to the?
We
commissioners?
provided the overall project budget. I handed it to you 3 sessions
Okay,
ago.
but I mean, I didn't see like, but this had like a quote in here, from, I guess who is this from? Manfrost and Associates. Where, you know, they say this is the lowest bidder and it came out that this, 1.238.
As the contractor, we are 1.33 budget is a project cost, which includes all of the engineering and indirect costs. The cost of the project is $1.33 million estimated.
Yeah, because it looked like it came in under your budget too, because it says here, it says, which was under the published estimate of 1.275.
Only the construction.
That's the
That's
construction
the
cost.
construction.
Yes.
So then, but I mean, that's still, it seems like there's still like a, you know, a discount there, almost $40,000.
Every project has change orders.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Okay,
Why
so
would we quibble over the amount when any excess funds I believe, are returned to the county? I don't
that's the way it reads.
understand the
Right.
logic here.
Right.
Why would we waste all this time on dollar amounts? This is a construction professional who understands 100 times more than I understand about construction. It's 1.33. And if we have any money left over, you get it back.
Mhm.
So why waste time on it?
Okay, let's go
So-
through.
Can I ask one more
Sure.
question? So that, and I just confirmed this with Linda also. And Adrian, if you wanted to speak up, the other option that we have, Jim, is that we have the ability, and I believe that Christie, you have a resolution to be able to just do a transfer of funds, just like we do a transfer of $20,000 to the airport annually, that we would be able to just do that to avoid all of this craziness, to just do the transfer of the dollars to the airport fund and be done with it.
Wasn't that what your motion just was?
I basically, whether it's this loan or whether there should be no loan, if we transfer the dollars, just like we do the 20,000, we do that and it's done.
Okay,
From what I understand, Jim, did you not, and Linda had just informed me that you had Christie or Linda put together some type of a resolution like that. I just wanted to ask you.
No,
I didn't
I
see
just
that.
reminded him that that was an option.
Okay,
That's all.
but I thought that was what your prior motion
well,
was.
I guess to clarify, just in case there was a question, would that work for you?
Well, there was no second to your motion, so
Well, I
I
guess,
think that answers your question, doesn't it?
okay.
Well, coming from, let me think about this, because we've been thinking long and hard since December. Started at 1.33. I'm down to 800,000. And, you know, I'm sure two of us, getting back to the loan language conversation, I'm okay with the 0% interest. But I'm just trying to, you know, either way, I want to make sure you get the $800,000.
Could I ask? So, well, what I just heard is that the prosecutor would not be involved in what you just talked about.
That is correct.
If there was no agreement, but Mr. Dvorak, you did promise when you talked about giving that $800,000 that there would be protections on
Some
the
conditions.
tax.
Like, what do you mean
And so-
promise? I'm not, what do you mean
Well,
promise?
I mean,
Where's that coming?
I mean, what conditions, if we would give you the 800,000, just slide it over, what extra conditions?
The 2018 agreement
In the quarterly.
and a quarterly with the,
Quarterly, there's a 3-year period where we have to have precise reviews of the project.
we'll provide all the documents for that project, as well as going back and meeting with the county administrator, the 2018 agreement. And we'll go over everything we've done in the past, provide back documents if we have to. Moving forward, we'll have a more concise process and reporting period, and we'll take care of everything you need.
And that process is a collaboration between your folks. This is what we want. Okay, we'll do it.
Yeah, just let us know. And then, I mean, we've been through it. We've poured over it. And we've met with Linda again, and we're ready to move forward with that.
Do we have, I noticed in the 2018 agreement, we're supposed to have copies of all the leases or the subleases as well. Do we have that?
Not yet, we will.
I mean, we have copies of our standard lease. And we can provide every lease we have, copies of everything we have. We have no problems with that.
Yeah, we provided the accounts receivable. That is all our tenants. I mean, we don't receive income from anybody but our tenants. It's not a mystery. It's
I thought
not
you have fuel
controversial
sales
in any
too.
shape or form.
Don't you have fuel sales?
We do.
too?
We do.
Yeah, so,
We have all those.
so that's your.
It's all computerized.
Yeah.
Again, it's an uncheatable system. It's so straightforward. It's X number of tenants who pay their rent every month. There's complete computer records. Every time I buy fuel, there's a perfect record of that purchase. There's nothing there.
With the fair board, we gave them $750,000, but the bond is connected to that. So to get rid of all this,
Yeah.
of all my headaches and stomach aches over the last 3 weeks, I'm willing to have $750,000, same as what the fair board got. And with the sliding of the money over the.
And so just to clarify, I mean, we have verbal promises, but that doesn't have the same sort of teeth that a written document would have, where there's actually consequences for violating it.
What would be the consequences if they don't follow the 2018 agreement? Because that's good until February of 28.
Well, they'd be breaching, I mean, it would be a breach of the agreement.
And have you found anything in there that can be a consequence if they don't follow the agreement that they
I
signed?
mean, listen,
In 18.
I just got here. I don't know what they're doing and what they're not doing. I have, you know, like I said, I've found this whole process very troubling. And some of the conduct very troubling. And so I think it's important. And like I said, when you made that prior agreement that was contingent on a resolution, I said, does that mean there's no agreement? And you said, well, we're going to have a resolution that puts these protections in for taxpayers. And I think we should still have those protections for taxpayers.
So if I could just chime in on this, I would ask you, Jim, to consider this. Would the airport commission, if what Jim is saying with the 750, if we would, because 750, I think that we're going to be short.
Correct.
If we did 800 and not went back for that additional 50, would you guys be able to still get this across the finish line?
Yes.
So I guess with that, I would make the motion for $800,000 transfer to the airport fund. And we won't go back to that 50 You guys will accept that on your side and $800,000 transfer to you. If there would be a second.
If that would happen, what other, conditions can you give us more than the 2018 agreement?
What, I guess, what do you need? What do you like? Well, you say we'll do it. I mean, that's our document. That's what we live by.
That's what this resolution was supposed to be, that we were supposed to vote on Tuesday. So those are the conditions I want.
The 2018 agreement is what was done, and that took a lot of heartache back in 2018 by everybody. Wasted a lot of time and money. We'll, as soon as available, we'll sit down and we'll go through everything and we'll provide anything you need. And if you see something wrong, let us know.
There's something specific, we have a project, we have quarterly reports on the project. Whatever you would like to see, we're more than willing to do. As it's in terms of malfeasance or whatever, we're still subject to that relative to the 2018 agreement.
Yeah.
And you still have to provide that proof to the FAA too, to continue. So I mean, you guys are being checked and double checked.
And we have an audit right now that's being finalized. And as soon as that hits the presses, we'll get you a copy.
And we successfully passed the last audit.
Yeah. And I know that, you guys are doing a lot of things correctly. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten a $3.1 million from the FAA for the, taxiway and lighting, which Commissioner Brake and I passed.
Mhm.
And Ralph wasn't here that day. So, to transfer the money, and whatever we ask for, I guess in the next 30 or 60 days, I'm sure we can get it from you.
Mhm.
So,
One thing I would like to see as part of this is with that 2018 agreement, a clear schedule of when reports are due, what should be in each of those reports, who they get delivered to.
If it's all right with the board, I am willing to get together with Rick at the authority and work on creating that schedule and the follow-up. The other thing to consider is there is an element in the 2018 agreement where you can make changes to it.
Yeah, 30 days notice, so we
Yes.
can,
So if you
can,
want to beef it up, that would be something that you could do in order to, I think Commissioner Brackey's concerns about protecting the taxpayer are legitimate, and that would be something you guys could do without too much trouble.
Just a caution, if you would, is when you look at our income statement, our legal costs are through the roof. And there's primarily one source of all our legal costs, and that's negotiating with our own county.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Can we get a printed version of that resolution, Christine?
Oh, which one?
The resolution for just the straight up, like the one that they used for the 20,000 a couple years ago.
I do not have the one that you did this morning. I only have the one that was the simplified version from before.
Do you want to submit it to them to look at to see if it says what they want it to say?
Yeah.
I didn't change anything in it, I don't believe. And that one was drafted by the prosecutor's office, to my knowledge, and approved by them. Wasn't it Laura that wrote that?
Which one?
The one from a couple
The
of years
simple-
ago,
oh.
of $20,000 when they wanted the extra 20,000. I thought Laura did that, or did Jerry do that?
I think that was here. Hold on.
so, and I've been working hard on this. I mean, I talked to Laura Good Friday, Saturday, Easter Sunday nights.
yeah, me
I'm
too.
sure you have too. I was up there this morning, looking for answers. And, to transfer the money for $800,000, I second that motion.
Do we need a resolution, Christine?
Yeah, I'm trying to find what we're talking about.
Do a financial,
Oh, we have other actions besides that that have to be done. It's only like up and John.
Okay, see you in the fifth.
I'm just trying to find that. The version that was used. So this is the version from 24. There was a resolution to provide a portion of the expense to the airport authority in accordance with ORC 308.17 for the year 2024. Has the Board of County Commissioners formed the airport authority in resolution 92-105 in accordance with Ohio Revised Code section 308.03. ORC section 308.17 applies the Board of County Commissioners of the county included with any regional airport authority to appropriate money from the general fund of the county if permitted in the resolution creating the airport authority. Whereas resolution 19105 provided in part the Board of County Commissioners may in their discretion provide financial support to the Geauga County Airport Authority. Whereas the Geauga County Board of Commissioners wishes to provide an appropriation to the authority for a portion of the expense of the authority to be paid by the Board of County Commissioners as provided in the resolution. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners will appropriate them. This was the one from 24. It says appropriate the sum of $20,000 to the airport, to the authority representing that portion of the expense of the authority to be paid by the Commissioners as provided in 92105 for the year 24 through a supplemental appropriation from the general fund. And then became part of the permanent record. So if that is the same language that you wish to use,
That would be up to the board.
I mean, I would just point out that there's no protections for taxpayers there. In that resolution. There's no requirement that they do the quarterly reports. There's no requirements that they do anything. There's no requirements they give part of the money back or ask for us if there's anything left over. All these requirements that we put in the resolution that we were going to vote on Tuesday are completely stripped out of that resolution.
So could we put some more language in there if we choose?
Yeah, I mean, we
If there's,
did that, Jim.
if there's money.
We did that.
I know, you did that.
We did that. That was ready to go on Tuesday.
I'm updating.
Mr. Dvorak, 1.10, I think contains what you're looking for. Airport authority shall provide quarterly reporting to the commissioners for 3 years following completion of construction of the project, including copies of leases, relevant documents, occupancy rates, rental income, operational costs, reporting for any other projects at the Geauga County Airport as information may be requested by the commissioners. The airport authority shall provide any additional documents, records, or other information requested by the commissioners. I think that covers it.
Can we put that,
But that's in the loan agreement. This is a resolution.
can we put that in the resolution?
Yeah, it's just language. May I?
Sure.
I'm trying to just update to get us to a certain point where we can even add anything in. 1.1 of the, okay.
You have it.
Just hang on a second. Have wrong names on here from before, then they need to update as well. Trying to make sure that all of the other information is updated as well.
We killed a lot of trees in this process.
I killed a lot of trees.
We got a lot of hours.
Up until now, I was gonna live another 10 years. Yeah.
Okay, so we want to.
I still believe in you, Linda.
Yes. Commissioner, that's very kind. Thank you.
It's gonna be you and the cockroaches and
Oh, gee.
the rest of us. will be- No, I just mean you're gonna live forever. I'm pretty sure.
rates. Rental income. And operational costs. Reporting. Information. I'm sorry, guys.
Sorry to put you in this position.
Typing skills are on display.
Yeah, and I do not like this little keyboard. I didn't pull out my wireless. I left it in the bag. Okay.
Would you read it back to us?
I will, just give me 1 second.
Can you send it to be printed and I'll go get it?
Yeah, hold on. I want to make sure everything's right before we add any printing. Okay, so the date is 24th, 2025, assigned to number Adrian, had financials. Was 076, so this will be resolution 25077 to provide a portion of the expense to the airport authority in accordance with ORC 308.17 for the year 2025. So the paragraph that was added says, whereas the airport authority shall also provide quarterly reporting to the commissioners for 3 years following completion of construction of the project, including copies of leases and other relevant documents, occupancy rates, rental income, and operational costs, and reporting for any other projects at the Geauga County Airport. As information may be requested by the commissioners, the airport authority shall also provide any additional documents, records, or other information requested by the commissioners.
Just delete also from that first sentence because I think that was because there was other things that were going to be provided in other provisions. And that one's just by
So
itself.
just shall provide quarterly reporting.
Yeah.
And then now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners will appropriate the sum of $800,000 to the authority representing that portion of the expense of the authority to be paid by the Board of County Commissioners as provided in Resolution 92105 for the year 2025 through a supplemental appropriation from the general.
Should we say
Do you need to change that?
airport construction fund?
Yeah, that's
Because technically it's not from the general fund.
That's right.
correct. That's why I was asking Adrian. Is there any, Adrian?
Yes.
Come here a second. Is there anything else that you need to add in here? Because it would be an
Where would we add
expenditure
right here?
right here through a supplemental appropriation from the general fund. I think that probably needs to,
Just say airport construction fund from the airport construction.
well, the only problem is that they rescinded the original resolution that put that into the airport construction fund.
That's right.
So,
They took action though to transfer the 800,000 from the general fund last week to put it into the
the.
airport.
Oh, but you know what?
Encumbrance and
But yeah, but this
expenditure.
motion for number one,
The-
it rescinded it.
Rescinded that action.
Yeah.
So, but they they did approve an encumbrance and expenditure on Tuesday of $800,000. And that was from the airport construction fund.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Should it say then from the general fund to the airport construction fund?
your supplemental appropriation. The.
Allergy season is starting already. I can feel it.
Oh, the tree pollen's been, that's.
All those blooming trees get me. They look beautiful.
Better than snow.
Oh. No, they did. I just don't sneeze as much.
It's gonna be 80 today.
All right.
We gotta get out of here.
My mower still start though. Oh,
When do you need to hire somebody?
Yeah.
maybe. That's why I bought the mower. It's one of these. Oh, yeah.
See, you are gonna outlive us all.
Read the whole thing. John.
What about adding this?
Yeah, I mean, that's up to you, whatever you want to do. I mean, I think the other thing to add potentially would be that, talking about the airport authority being responsible for managing the project.
From the airport construction fund to the.
That-
authority. Say something like
That
that.
is covered in the 18 agreement.
Well, it says. they
Well, by giving them the money, you're kind of
To the
To the
authority.
authority.
seizing, you're letting them be in charge of it.
Yeah,
I just feel like this still should say it, but
Where'd that go?
Wills would do it.
how are we doing?
To the airport construction.
I think that should be okay. I don't
Do you want to
I don't
include
know
anything
what-
about the encumbrance and expenditure?
Yeah, you could say, and further authorize and encumbrance and expenditure from the airport construction fund. We did, but.
Yeah,
not
I know,
this,
we're
you know
going
what
back
I'm
and
saying?
forth.
Yeah. From the airport construction fund to the authority. I feel better. That's enough.
Okay, so the last paragraph now reads, now therefore be it resolved that the Geauga County Board of Commissioners will appropriate the sum of $800,000 to the authority representing that portion of the expense of the authority to be paid by the Board of County Commissioners as provided in Resolution 92105 for the year 2025 through an appropriation from the general fund to the airport construction fund, and further authorize the encumbrance and expenditure from the airport construction fund to the airport authority. Is there anything else that needs to be added into this resolution?
No, it's good.
So you're gonna send it to get printed?
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm like, it like completely froze. I was like, what did school just do?
During the lull here, may I ask a question?
Sure.
I wrote down the processes that we committed to today. And hopefully we can work these out with Adrian, is make sure there's a complete agreement on Hangar Bravo reporting. In other words, tells us exactly what you want. We're glad to do it. any reporting required by the 2018 agreement. I believe that requires a little bit of clarification. Again, Adrian tells us what he wants.
Okay.
And then the annual oral and written report, again, if there's any refinement that you desire on that.
Well,
Tell us
I
what-
guess the question with that is, does the meeting with us regarding the budget suffice to fulfill that?
Oh,
requirement?
no, I need all four of those for this call.
These are
Yes,
points.
well,
One of the things too, Adrian, is, you know, just like, you know, last year Rick came in almost quarterly to give us an update. You know, I think that we could, you know, try to continue to do that, that we could get an actual, you know, sure. And I mean, he comes in and has been giving us updates sometimes every 2 months, so. And then, you know, the other thing is as far as once this project gets going, you know, just is maybe a little bit more, you know, like once a month or something to just give us an update on the project, yeah.
We know we've been doing reports. We just don't have a documentation of what did we tell, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
I
you
mean,
said.
I'm a documentation person.
Okay.
I'd rather have a report, a physical report I can read than somebody coming in.
Agreed. Perfect. Yeah.
Rick actually gets almost daily construction reports.
Yeah.
We'll leave that to him. I don't even want to see it, you know, but quarterly.
Yeah, that would be great.
And Greg,
Hopefully.
when you communicate with Adrian, could you put in an email as well? Like what you just said, the 4 things that you mentioned.
Yeah.
That way we have it, and then Adrian can reach out to you and say, we want
It's
this.
kind of our to-do
Time,
Sure.
time frame and all that stuff.
So the motion would be the Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution 25-077 to provide a portion of the expense to the airport authority in accordance with ORC 308.17 for the year 2025 of $800,000. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Commissioner Spitaler?
Aye.
Commissioner Brady?
No,
Commissioner DeWark?
yes. Then we have, item 3 and 4 to take care of.
And we got to approve the grant application.
Hold on. So number 3 on the agenda is the airport authority is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the FAA airport improvement sponsor certification forms, including construction project final acceptance, airport improvement program sponsor certification, FAA form 5100-130 drug-free workplace, FAA form 5100-131 equipment and construction contracts, FAA form 5100-132 project plans and specifications, FAA form 5100-134 selection of consultants, and FAA form 5100-135 for certification and disclosure regarding potential conflicts of interest.
so I have a question regarding the bids. So in the application packet, it said that there was an irregularity with the accepted bid. Could you talk about that?
The person that submitted the low bid on the bid alternates put his 4 bid alternates on 2 identical pages instead of having the 2 separate pages.
Okay,
The numbers were all correct. They just were put in the wrong place on the form.
Plus be awarded on the base bid, not on the alternates. So that, and then we also have the ability to waive any inconsistencies.
and is that was approved by your council as being acceptable? Is that something we had the prosecutor's office look at if we're signing off on this?
We're the ones signing the contract with the contractor.
Okay, well, but aren't we signing, isn't that what we're signing?
The grant application.
Right, and that's part of your grant application. That's how I have this information. It's part of the grant application.
Laura did see the application, and that's how we knew we needed to address that bid irregularity question when we asked for the explanation, and that was what we received.
I received no comment back from Laura from the information that was provided by Rick.
So did she approve it, or we don't know?
I don't know that she approves. I don't know what her role is with this.
Okay.
Exactly.
And we were also provided a corrected copy of
I'm aware, yeah.
that part.
Yeah, I mean, I just know, I'm not super familiar with these bid guidelines, but I know when we had a bid with Water Resources and there was an irregularity, it was like kind of a big deal. And that seemed like a very small thing to me. So that was, I flagged that. And then the other thing I was concerned about was this wait list that was included as an attachment. That I brought this up before, but it only has 19 people on it and it's dated.
She was working with an old list. Once we
Okay.
realized that, we gave her an updated list.
So you'll update, when you submit the application, you'll put an updated
Yes.
wait list on it. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
I
good.
have to actually send her another one. Send her two this last 2 weeks.
Can you just send me a copy of that, Rick, so then I can attach it to my copy of the.
Wait list? Yes.
Yeah, so I can attach it to a copy of that. grant application.
I mean, it's pretty thorough, especially the drug-free workplace FAA Form 51-131. Equipment, construction contracts, FAA forms, project plans and specifications, FAA Form 51-134. Selection of the consultants, another FFA form. Certification and disclosure regarding potential conflict of interest. So it covers a lot.
Yes,
Yes.
this is it.
Make the motion.
Second,
Commissioner Spudler.
Yes.
Commissioner Brady.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
yes.
So these are the certifications.
It's for me.
That's just for you. So then, the next item is, number 4, which is the Airport Authority is requesting the board approve and execute resolution 25-075, authorizing the president of the Geauga County Airport Authority Board to execute and submit the application to the Federal Aviation Administration for the fiscal year 2025 bipartisan infrastructure law airport improvement grant program.
Make that motion.
Second,
Commissioner Spudler.
Aye.
Commissioner Brady.
Aye.
Commissioner Moore.
yes.
And that is this resolution. And then the next item is Adrian.
Finance.
That's why when the FAA awards the grant, we'll be coming back to you for approval for that as well.
Process rest of the day. Jim, you have to sign those documents. And then we have to email them to the FAA or to Michael Baker today.
If you wait, you can take a set with you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have 3 copies here that are attached. You'll get 2 of them back. One of them stays with you, so you'll have 2 sets of the grant.
All right, we'll hang tight. Thank you.
Just have to, swap out that. Wait.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adrian Gordon, Commissioner's Office. Today's financials include an encumbrance, formal contract PO from the Commissioners to the Geauga County Airport Authority for the funds to help the airport build the T hangars.
Make that motion.
Second,
Commissioner Spudler.
Yes.
Commissioner Brady.
No.
Commissioner Moore.
yes.
So I guess the process, then we will, once all the documentation is all together and everything, we will do another special financial as early as this afternoon or tomorrow in order to cut the check for the 800,000. I'm assuming you gentlemen would like us to hold that check and you come pick it up, or you want it to be mailed, or?
Oh, but yes.
Yeah, no, mail.
We will hold it.
You can just give it to me, I'll deliver it.
You answered your question. Well, I had to ask.
I figured.
Would you consider a wire transfer?
We probably could do that if I get your bank.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
There are no additional items on the special meeting agenda today.
No.
No, nothing else.
One topic.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just to clarify,
Yeah.